Good afternoon. It is Monday here at Dolphin Island. It's a little cloudy outside and it's a little chilly, but spring is here. Anyway, so I had a small, I wouldn't say dilemma, but a small crossroads that I had to figure out a few months ago. And that was a stringing machine purchase. So I had a dilemma myself, or not necessarily a dilemma, but something to try to decide what I wanted to do, and that was to purchase a stringing machine, the stringing machine I wanted to get, that I knew I would be happy with, and that would be durable and last a while and get good quality results. So I ran into a question, and that question was, do you like your Prince Neos 1500, and what made you decide to get that one over another machine that I heard you mention in one of your other videos? So I'm going to kind of shoot this one from the hip and give you my best, I guess, version per se on why I chose the Prince Neos. Just a reminder, this is not a paid advertisement at all. It's kind of funny even thinking it would be. But anyway, so I'm just simply giving you my best thoughts on what I purchased, how I feel about it, and why. So I've strung for a long period of time. I'm by no means the best stringer in the world at all. There's many people much better than I, but I do enjoy doing it. I find peace in it, and I have passion for it. So rewind back to about 10 years ago or so, maybe 9 years ago, I had a Babolat Star 5 electronic stringing machine. Loved it. Great machine. Fast forward that, and with some moves here and there and not being able to tote it around and winding up in a spot where I have a lot of power issues, literally. The power issues in terms of if I have an electronic machine and the power goes out, if I still want to string, can I do it? I'll explain the power outage. We live on a small island, and sometimes we lose power or we have tropical weather. Power can be out for a little while and so forth. That's what I mean by losing power. So a couple of years ago, I ran into a push or a lot of recommendations for myself to start stringing again. And because I didn't do it in a while from a business perspective and just was stringing kids' rackets, I didn't hold on to my Star 5 and I let it go. So about a year, something like that, about a year ago, I started getting into the mindset that I really wanted to get another machine. If I had my Star 5, great, but unfortunately I did not. So I jumped back into the stringing machine hunt. So I have been through some tropical weather here, and we've lost power for a while. So number one, I wanted to tell myself if I start stringing again, I would like the ability to not have to depend upon a power outlet every single time. So I started looking at crank machines. So this is a crank machine, and again, this is a Prince Neos 1500. And what I mean by crank is that I can turn this to full tension on my racket. So I was a little reluctant to do that. I've been around stringing at some pretty top-notch, nice places, and I was a little reluctant to get a crank machine because I like to be sure I'm within a half a pound of tension, and I can always do that on my electronic machine. So the more I read about it and talked to different stringers at different large stringing, I guess you could say, respective places, I kept hearing about the Prince. Now, the other half of the time, I would hear about a machine called a Gamma 6004. I had never strung on a Gamma 6004. I had never strung on a Neos. Again, I was more of an electronic Babolat Star 3, Star 5 user, so it was a new world to me. So the more and more I talked to people, the more and more I found that people were 6004 Gamma, Prince Neos 1500. So once I got those two models simply by talking and asking questions, I was at about a 50-50 split. Maybe 60-40 towards the Neos, but both really happy folks. So Next, I looked at the mounting system. This is a 4-point machine, meaning the racket mounts at 4 points, 2 on the head, 2 at the throat. The machines I was accustomed to were 6-point mounts, which has cradles that go around each side of the racket. So I had never strung on this type of stringing machine in terms of the mounting system, so I was a little unnerved about it. But I was asked a couple of questions when looking is, have you ever been stringing in a hurry really quickly, came around a grommet hole to go in another, not really paying attention, and wrapped a string around the arms that go around the top? I have done that long ago, just learning to string, but nonetheless, I could understand that because it's something that we, or at least me as a stringer, I think about that if I'm using a 6-point machine. Do I have this wrapped around something? So now that I have this machine, I realize that the 4-point mounting system, I like it a lot. Very quick, very easy, and I'll show you how to mount on a 4-point here shortly. So after having talked to many people about what's the most reliable crank machine, and a crank machine that I can even add an electronic tension head to if I so wish to do so, the Prince Neos ended up by percentage just creeping up a little bit further on the list of pros versus cons. Not saying there was any cons with the other machine, but in terms of the overall longevity, and I would say the overall integrity of the machine that people would tell me about, it seemed to shift more towards this machine. But again, no ill will against any other machine. So when this came to me, it came to me in 2 boxes. I had a box with the tension head itself in it, okay? I think the toolkit was in that, which had all wire cutters, a nice little toolkit, the little head attachments, and so forth. And then the other box had the stand, the tool tray, instruction manual, and so forth. So for me, setting it up was really easy. I took maybe 5 or 10 minutes to hook up the tool tray and stand, and maybe another 20 minutes just to make sure that I got everything screwed in the way I wanted to and adjusted the height. So I was up and set up within about 45 minutes, if that. There is a way you can take this tension head off. Okay, you can take it off, and you can actually add on an electric tension head that's available from an outside manufacturer. So you can turn this into an electronic machine and be pretty comfortable. You're going to get it within a half a pound. So what I did, because again, if I'm without power, I still want to know that I'm putting out a quality product. Well, how do I do that? So I got this tension calibrator for the machine. So the premise of this is that I want to find out if this thing is right on the money. So I can basically clamp this off. Actually, I would have it this way. I can clamp this off, clamp that into here, and pull tension on it, okay? And I can look at my tension over here and correspond it with the pounds or kilograms on this to find out that I'm right on. And right out of the box, it was right on. So again, that's just an easy tool to put on your machine to know that your tension's set. And for this machine, it was set right out of the box. So having never strung on a 4-point machine, my only worry was how am I going to figure out how to mount it? It was really easy. So I'm going to put a racket on the machine real quick and show you how you mount up on a 4-point. All right, so on this machine, it's real simple. There's little knobs here that I can push down, slide in, and pull out to adjust the width or the length of the racket. So all I'm going to do to mount this on here is I'm going to adjust these little dials here. So the flat part will meet just below the grommet strips on the racket. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to make sure you can. Okay. It's not up super high, Again, because if you clamp it down, you want the strings to be able to still come through the grommet strip. So I just have it so these two dials are adjusted just short of the upper or the bottom of the grommet strip. So that sits in here like so. So I'm going to turn these dials around. Again, this is adjusting height. Okay? So I'm going to turn these dials around so they would meet the inside of the racket. So I'm going to put it here and I'm going to say, these little dials are too far back. So I need to scoot this pillar in. Okay? So all I do is I can lift the racket up or I can keep it there, but I'm going to push this knob down. Make sure you can see that knob. Okay? I'm going to pull this or push this knob down and I'm going to scoot it in. Okay? Move my clamp out of the way and I set my racket back here on top. Okay? So now it's too short. So I'm there, so I'm going to just pull it outwards and I'm mounted. Okay? Or at least there's no pressure on it. It's easily pulled on and off. So now I just make sure it's centered. I'm going to put the top clamp in the top. Clamp it down. I'm going to put the bottom clamp in the bottom. Clamp it down. And it's on. It's on. She's ready to go. So it was really easy for me to mount it. And having strung now a lot on the machine, I really enjoy stringing on it. It's quick, it's easy, it's a nice, I'm about 6 foot, 6'1". So I have a nice height for it. Some machines you're really having to cramp over there a little bit, but it sits up real nice and high. So I really enjoy it a lot. So for me, again, I had a very nice fully electronic stringing machine. I went to an area which sometimes there's power issues. So what I wanted to do again is find something that would be reliable if the power went out and I wasn't able to string because I didn't have power. So again, I did research. I talked to people. I talked to coaches. I talked to salespeople. I talked to reps. And everything led me from the best of the electronic machine, if I'm going to go to a crank and still have a very nice product to deliver, was the Neos Gamma 6004. And the Gamma does offer 6-point and 2-point mounting. Again, I've never strung on it, but I hear it is a decent machine. At the end of the day, though, I'm very happy about the Neos 1500. Again, there's no bias for me in terms of why I made the video. I was simply asked that, hey, they have been in the same shoes I am. They're looking for a really nice crank machine that they can add a tension head to. I had heard the story that I was looking for the same type setup, and why did I get what I got, and what made me choose what I have, and am I happy with what I have? So I am. I think it was great. So with all said and done, I hope I didn't ramble too much, but it mounts easily. 360-degree rotation is retained, even if you add the tension head. So you can add an electronic tension head and still get the 365 rotation. The clamps are nice. I think it's a pretty machine, kind of Wimbledon-ish per se. Toolkit comes with it, and also a nice cover comes with it as well. So I think it's a really nice machine. Hopefully this video helps. You won't go wrong with it. So hey, click a like below, subscribe below. You can check out our website at www.5ktennis.com. You can make donations there as well. They are always helpful, so we can continue to put out videos for everybody on rainy days. So thanks again. Have a good one. If you have any questions about the operation of the machine, time frame to delivery, where it was ordered from, etc., just let me know. But again, not a paid advertisement, and I really enjoy the machine. All right, take care. Thanks for watching.